Hey folks, it's Jeremy, the host of Blammo. Thanks so much for listening. This is a preview of one of our exclusive shows on Patreon. These are member-supported shows, meaning they only happen because of our incredible members and community. So check out a preview of the episode, and if you like it, consider joining us on Patreon at patreon.com/Blammo, where we have tons of exclusive Blammo episodes, shows, our amazing Slack group, and we're adding new things for members all the time. If not, no worries, we still love you, and we literally have hundreds of episodes of Blammo all free for you to dive into. Thanks so much.
Hey, Derek.
Hey, Peter.
How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing well. We have a guest today.
We do. I am so excited about this guest. I cannot relay. It is Mark Dunsford, the managing director of Harrison's of Edinburgh.
Yes.
Also known as Harrison's. They are a cloth merchant. I think the top cloth merchant, frankly. That's why I'm so excited about this, because if you buy bespoke clothing, to me, Harrison's is the first place you should check for fabric.
Yes.
And if you've gone through all of their books and you can't find what you want, then maybe you start checking other books.
Right.
We'll get into the stories of why I think that, I'm sure, in this interview. But it is so great to have Mark here because, if I may say so, and I hope this isn't offensive, but Mark is not a very public figure. But he is such a repository of technical knowledge.
He is.
And that is what we love to get into.
This is exactly why we have him on the interview.
In this,
we're going to go down to the micron.
I'm going to say we're not going to go down too.
Welcome to the pod, Mark.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So you and your cousin James entered the family business. Harrison's is a family-owned firm. Is that right?
Harrison's is a family-owned firm. Obviously, we started out life as Lear Brown and Dunsford. Okay. That's where James and I both have the surname Dunsford. There's obviously a story how we got to the Harrisons.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious.
What was the original company? Lear Brown and Dunsford.
Correct. So it's founded in 1895 by a Mr. Lear and Mr. Brown. A Mr. James Dunsford joined the firm in about 1912, I think, 1913. Became one of their sales guys. Obviously did very well because in those days, there weren't bunches. You had to go out and sell rolls of fabric to tailors.
You didn't have a book that you can just
never had a book.
Through.
Bunches are relatively new, I say new concept, 1960s maybe.
Oh.
It was basically going and selling, pre-selling or full rolls of cloth. It wasn't a huge choice like there is today. So he did very well. He became a partner. Mr. Lear died. Mr. Brown had a son. And Mr. Dunsford, James Dunsford, had a son as well, Arthur. They then had another son. So the third generation, my father and my uncle joined the company. But Mr. Brown had two daughters. And that caused a problem because they weren't interested in working in the company. And of course, as they were shareholders, they wanted the cash.
Right.
And it nearly took us down, I think, well before my time, obviously. But 1970s was a really tough time because the industry was changing. And at the same time, they had to find cash to buy them out. And then obviously getting over that little period and then into the time when I joined in the late 80s, it was the industry we can have a chat about generally. But in our little world at Lear Brown and Dunsford, it was struggling. We didn't have a range of products that really suited the cut length market. We did bigger business in bulk to the Far East, just mainly Hong Kong. But we hadn't had a cut length business that was international. And it wasn't until we had a phone call in late 80s that the game really changed for us.
So when did you and your cousin James enter the company in the 80s?
I think James was always going to join the company. I was actively discouraged from joining the company.
Really?
Why is that?
Because there was no future in it from my father's side. This is a dying business. We've not made any money for years. You best find something else. Go and join the army. I'm just not an army kind of guy, so it wasn't for me. But thankfully, my uncle, who I ended up living with for a short time, he'd been there forever. And he said, look, get out of what you're doing. I was working actually in a hotel for, let's call it 16. So I was working in a hotel for a couple of years. I hated it. And I wanted to just get out. He said, look, come and work in the warehouse, just to get out and do something else, 9 to 5, and I could chase women and have a bit of fun. It was great, which I did, and did a few years there. And I can say it now but we used to play cards in the afternoon. It was dead.
It was slow.
There was no business. Our customer base was the provincial parts of the UK. We didn't do any business in London.
Provincial parts, so outside.
Everywhere across the country. We did, parts in the Midlands, parts.
Are you
of Scotland.
supplying tailoring shops?
These are just old school tailors.
Yeah.
So these are the guys that were all dying off slowly. They weren't being replaced with new people.
I do remember old British documentaries, and we see, everyone knows all the stories of, Henry Poole, Huntsman, Anderson Shepherd, Savile, all these big houses. But when I watch all of these old BBC documentaries, you see guys going into like a tiny tailoring shop.
That's right.
And it's it's like the size of a convenience store.
Yeah.
It's one guy running it. And then, they mention the name. You've never heard of that name.
Exactly.
And it's just how that small.
And they would have been people in larger companies maybe 20 years prior to that. And then probably with a younger guy there who learnt cutting or he was a tailor and thought, once the old guy goes, I can run this shop. I can have my own business, like a corner shop.
Yeah.
But it had no, once he'd gone, he didn't pass that skill on. It just died with him. And that business is where we were still very much a provincial supplier of fabric.
Not in the city.
Our cloths were provincial. Our whole look was provincial. And when we got there I was looking for other jobs. When you're 20 years old, you don't know this is going to be your career because all you hear is, well, we're playing cards in the afternoon. That's not really how it's going to go. But the crucial moment, it was the light bulb moment, happened when we had a phone call from a company called Pedersen Becker. You may never heard of Pedersen Becker.
No, I've never heard of that.
So Pedersen Becker was a company family owned by two guys. Mr. Becker was the last person standing. He had a bunch of 15, 16-ounce cloths, which happens to be on our Universal bunch now, as in there's a site actually on the Harrisons. But he had one book. And he said, look, I hit retirement age. There's no one behind me. There's no one coming up. I know you guys have got a family coming in. Do you want to buy it? And we said, well, yeah, why not? We'll take that. And it literally was one book when it was just navy grey, herringbone, stripe. Anyway, that was it. And we went up in a truck, we picked up all the stock on a Friday. We loaded the warehouse in ours on the Sunday. We had this is before social media, so you had to actually write letters out to all the customers, his customers. He wrote them on a Friday, we wrote those on a Friday. And so we're dropping through letterboxes in the city in London.
Oh, wow.
And the phone got changed over. And on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every day, we were taking orders. We were taking 5, 10, 15 from new customers in the city. I'm thinking, why have we not been doing this before? What's happened? And suddenly, that was one phone call. We had another phone call about 2 years later. It might even be earlier. I can't remember the timings, from a guy who used to work for another woolen merchant, which I won't name, who, if people work it out, I'll tell you how it was. They had decided to sack the guy who had all the accounts in the City of London in favor of hiring his daughter. That's the clue. People will work it out. And he was infuriated because he'd built this business up with this other woolen merchant to quite a good size. And overnight, it'd gone. Coincided with the timing of this particular cloth. And we're going back to the city here in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, where people were wearing suits for uniform. It was a uniform. It was a suit of armor. Everybody went to work in a chalk stripe, pinstripe, plain grey suit. So we started working with this new guy who was looking after our accounts in the city. We went through the roof with sales.
Overnight.
We went literally within a week. We could not keep up.
Wait, so this guy went to your company?
He joined us.
You joined us?
He didn't join us as an employee. He joined us as an agent, which is totally cool. That's totally fine. We didn't want to upset anybody. And every door that was locked to us was suddenly open.
Because he had those accounts.
Because he had those accounts in his pocket. And he said, look, I've now got the product because you bought this Pedersen Becker company, which was the main rival. And suddenly we had a new, and that is the reason why we are here today.
Huh. And then, so how did Harrison's come into the mix?
The next phase of that was my cousin and myself were still obviously fairly young at that stage. We went and sold the Pedersen Becker story around the country. So the customers that we used to have in the provinces I mentioned before, provinces before, we went out. Basically, we had a one company car. he would do 1 week Northeast, I do Northwest, I do Scotland, he'd do Southwest, South.
And you would go to all these small tailoring shops.
And we'd sell.
Wow.
We'd go
You bringing this cloth to these tailoring shops?
We would just get new bunches.
Yeah.
And see if it worked with these guys. And what happened? After all the years of trying to come up with something new, it was navy and grey. And that was all it was. And the weight and the price, also a big factor. So we developed that. We made bigger books. We made more of the same. And over the years that grew. And we brought in new qualities. We brought a lighter weight quality to match the one that was heavier. So we had an option for summer and winter. And that was a turning point. So at that moment, we kind of thought, well, if we buy that company, if we bought someone else and took more market share with doing another route, maybe that could work. So we've always been fairly friendly with competition. In my book, I used to always talk to Charles Stewart from Holland & Sherry or the guys at other woolen merchants we're friendly towards. It was never them and us. It was always we share a lot of the same things: supplier problems, customer problems, blah blah blah. It's quite a lot of fun, to be honest. It was, and so we had good contacts. So with supplier, this particular first purchase that I wouldn't say we're putting ourselves out in the market, so we're looking for somebody actively. We were kind of looking at, and we got sniff that Harrison's might be in a slightly tricky position and might want to offload Porter and Harding. Now, Porter and Harding was
some good stuff in that.
Was a great bunch,
yeah,
but there was no stock, and that was always an indication when the merchant doesn't supply the stock is that they're running out of cash because they're not coming out with new books. The cloth patterns, the popular ones, not being repeated, it had a bit of a smell. We knew somebody who was supplying them, could we have a conversation? One thing led to another. We went to Edinburgh and we got the deal done. So suddenly now we're doing tweed, and not just any tweed, not the bills we can talk about, but this was one of the benchmark tweeds. So we had the John G. Hardy All Sport, which was like the one at the time, and it's still a great cloth.
Does Porter and Harding include Glorious?
So again, at the time, it was just the hard twist, which is the 18-ounce, proper, like heavyweight, heavy-duty stuff, which is brilliant, and the thorn-proof quality. There used to be a quality we also did was the lambswool quality from Arthur Bell's in Langham, which was beautiful. But again, that
I'm getting a suit made right now from the thorn-proof quality.
It's brilliant. It's bulletproof. So, but it all had huge holes in. So we had to go and speak to the suppliers. So, are you happy to supply us?
When you say the suppliers, do you mean the ones that are doing the weaving?
They're making it.
Got it.
We don't make anything. Most merchants don't make any cloth in-house. Everyone makes it for them.
Yeah.
For various reasons. So that was another really good addition to our portfolio at that time.
So you bought Porter and Harding from Harrison's.
Correct. So they suddenly had some cash.
And that was the way, because Harrison's wanted that to get some cash flow into their business.
Yeah, correct.
So when you're saying you're buying Porter and Harding, if they don't have a lot of stock, you're just buying the supply chain and the rights to
You weren't even buying the supply chain. You were buying the books, the bunches, and then you can go from there.
Excuse me for asking what might be a very crazy question, but like what would stop anyone from you can just buy swatches and just copy the design, right? Like, why would you need to buy?
That's where you're wrong.
What would stop someone from doing that?
Where are you going to get who's going to copy that cloth?
Well, you probably know the supplier.
A different supplier?
Yeah. This is the thing. You see, people think it's easy to copy. It's really quite hard.
Really?
It's really quite hard.
You can't reverse engineer it?
Well, you could take it to pieces. Of course, you could absolutely, but then you've got to find the right colors.
Right.
I mean, that hard twist bunch, you might look at one pattern and think, oh, it's got 3-4 colors in it. It might have 8 or 10.
So you're buying the recipe.
You're buying the recipe. You're buying the brand name. You're buying everything comes with it.
Yeah. I see. So it's not just about you.
And if I go to the people who make it and said, have we got a deal? And those days we had a deal. Shake of a hand. It was, it was done. We can definitely support you and give you 100 pieces, but don't mess around. We're here to do business.
Is it sort of like, if I can make analogies, it's sort of like if you enjoyed a really good dish at a restaurant and you're buying the rights to that dish, and then they show you how to make the dish, and you get the chef and you get the line cooks and all. Is it kind of like that?
Kind of like that, a little bit, yeah. I mean, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to work like we do today, is work with key suppliers. on a long-term basis, so that I can make a bunch for you in this. I can develop new qualities like the Glenroyal bunch, like the Glorious 12th bunch, and we can have a partnership long-term. So I haven't got to have the mill costs. That's your problem. I can run the bunches. You can support me. I can support you. It's a good working relationship.
Got it.
Okay.
And someone could come on the street and say, yeah, I've copied it. And people have tried to copy lots of our cloths. They're not quite as good. That's the fact. They can brand it all they want, but it's not quite as good.
Okay.
And that's what important thing that I feel, being a family-owned company, and until I dying day, will make sure the quality is as good as it can be. And don't cut any corners. Because the last thing I want someone talking in the background saying is, they're making it in China or they're making it in Timbuktu.
Or
and it's not the quite
they're trying. It's not how it used to
be.
be.
It's a real kick for me. So we just keep everything as much as we can, because there are times when you're restricted, as good as we can get
Want to
it.
hear the rest? Listen to the full episode and many more other exclusive episodes over on our Patreon. Visit patreon.com/Blamo to sign up and join the Blam fam. You also get access to our exclusive members-only Slack group where we chat about this and a ton of other things. So head over to patreon.com/Blamo and we'll see you there.